Oh, hi! Welcome to Start, Sits, and Salutations. I'm Joey Wright, and I always love greeting you guys with my signature, oh, hi. But today, I want to talk to you about when we have to say, oh, bye. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Russell Gage, who can absolutely be dropped in every redraft league, saying goodbye is very difficult. And I was hoping that maybe you guys could come along today and help me say goodbye to somebody that I loved. Come along. One and two and one and two and one and two. Starts. Denial is a perfectly normal reaction to the overwhelming feeling of losing someone permanently. Sometimes it's easier to pretend that these unfortunate events never occurred. When I was a child, I never had a birthday party because my parents told me I was never born and was a ghost, which made a lot of sense because every time my mother would see me, she would start to cry and scream. One player you might be scared of to put in your lineups this week is Green Bay Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs. Even though we had a tough week 5, I have zero issue rolling him out there for week number 6 as he has a great matchup against the New York Jets. Once the reality of losing someone sets in, it's completely normal to go into fits of rage and anger. You might take this rage and anger out on your friends, your family, or those annoying people outside of cellular phone stores that spin those signs. All of this, 100% normal.
What happened to your room, Joey?
That's a great question. A better question is, are there any New England Patriots wide receivers you should feel comfortable in starting this week? And the answer is yes. The Patriots wide receiver I like the most is Jacoby Myers. He's averaging just over 6 receptions a game and 87 receiving yards. And he's playing the Cleveland Browns, who give up over 30 fantasy points to opposing wide receivers.
You know you're going to have to clean this up, right?
Haha, make me. Once you've cleaned your room, you might begin trying to rationalize the loss with things you might have done differently. What if I would have left the house 5 minutes earlier? If I'd have been nicer, would that have changed anything? Will I ever trust watching the Denver Broncos on primetime again? The answer to at least one of those questions is yes. There's actually a Denver Bronco I like this week, Melvin Gordon. Even though I fell asleep 4 times during the game last week, he had over 100 yards rushing against the Indianapolis Colts. And he faces a much better matchup this week against the Los Angeles Chargers.
Hey! Yo!
Hey! Sits! Eventually you're going to discover that none of this even matters. It's all temporary is what they're saying, but I don't know if I believe that. Am I supposed to tell a joke or something? All right, why do squirrels swim on their backs? Anyways, Najee Harris is playing the Bucs this week. Don't start him. Had like 11 carries for 20 yards last week. The Bucs have the 3rd best run defense in the league. I'm not playing him, and neither should you.
Eventually, you do start to feel like yourself again. One of the best ways that I found acceptance through all this is by doing the things that my friend and I used to love to do together. Every morning, I would wake up and shave. My friend would be down by my feet, providing me support. And even though he wasn't holding the razor, it was always nice to know that he was there. One player I don't support in your lineup this week is New York Jets wide receiver Elijah Moore. He's conceded work to both Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis this season and has yet to lead the Jets in receiving targets this year. I really wanted to thank you for coming on my little journey with me today. I would have never gotten this far without you. Kind of like Russell Wilson seems like he hasn't gotten very far without Pete Carroll. I mean, seriously, like, what's going on there? I don't think I'm going to trust him the rest of the season, even if his schedule completely opens up. Speaking of opening up, I think it's time for me to say goodbye. Shoes, this is really hard. You've been there a lot for me over the last year, when I was just getting my feet wet. Literally. Remember we fell in the water? It took you forever to dry. I thought you'd never forgive me, yet here I am now, knowing I'll never forget you. Wow, that was like a poem. It won't be easy moving ahead without you, but I know the lessons I learned with you will give me everything I'll need to forge ahead. I'll miss you, Shoes. I will remember you. Will you remember me? Don't let your life pass you by. Oh! And don't start Darnell Mooney. Do you think the laces are still good?